Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
This world is changing more and more every day, and we've decided to change right along with it. My name is Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the president of Trajectory TV Network. At Trajectory, our vision is to provide a creative platform for top content creators and storytellers from around the globe. We're also dedicated to providing this world with content that is healing, educational, empowering, exciting, and above all else, entertaining and transparent. So right now, I invite all of you who believe yourselves to be global game changers to use the link found here and simply take a chance. Schedule a virtual chat where you'll have the opportunity to share your vision for your very own global television show with me, the network president. So use that link, and together, let's begin changing and healing this world, one story at a time. And remember, whether you have years of experience in front of the camera or zero experience, it doesn't matter. What matters the most is your desire to share great content through television and a willingness to share it with passion and with purpose. You might ask, how do I know if I've fallen in love with my purpose and my purpose has fallen in love with me? It's easy when you've lost your voice because you just can't stop talking about it. I'll see you soon.
I'll show you mine. don't see. What's yours for the taking tonight?
Am I? Oh, I guess that's just me getting old. I was like, what's wrong with my skin? It's wrinkled. Anyway, good morning and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris. I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be healthy-ish. And I say ish because I am on a road to doing better. So I throw that ish on there so that I just don't, become complacent. And why did I start with that? I never do. Because right now, I want to just put this call to action out early because of the topic we're going to have today. Share out right now. Today, our guest, and then I'm going to I'm doing it in reverse order than usual. Going to go back to the announcements in a minute, but I want to give you a chance to share this out right now because everybody, all of us, including even if it's just yourself, all of us know that we need to do better or know someone who should do better, needs to do better, but just doesn't know how to get started as far as their wellness goes. And you guys know just a few weeks ago on the 4th of July, I turned 61. And, it's the kind of thing you don't want to wait until something makes you do something about something. Preemptive, stay ahead of the pain, that kind of thing. And also today, well, let me just tell you why I'm going there. Today's guest came to us through, our good friend, Amy Joy. Watch her show right here on Trajectory, Get Your Shit Together. And I kind of made it a little hoodish right there. Her version is Get Your Shit Together. And anyway, she referred today's guest, Dr. Nikki, who is just an incredibly powerful authority on the entire realm of holistic wellness. And we're going to talk about it because really, my husband Brian and I, we have been part of a mastermind for the last, is today the last day? Today's the last day. It's a 3-day thing to see if we want to do it. All about doing better, so we're going to talk about that today. But before we get Dr. Nikki in here, I just wanted to remind you guys, but share it out. If there's somebody, if you love somebody and you want them around as long as possible, if you want your highest quality of life because you are on that journey of discovering your highest self, then, yes, we're doing all the mindset and all that. And sometimes we leave the vessel in another room. No, put them all on the kitchen table. Let's take a look today. We're going to do an inventory. But before we get Dr. Nikki in here, I want to remind you guys, if you are in the Chicagoland area, August 31st or September 1st, I would love to see you in person. Where? At the Tinley Park Convention Center, where I will be the master of ceremonies for the Accelerator Business Summit. I am so excited. Now, speaking, and here's a connector with Dr. Nikki. Our keynote, and I just love him. You guys know because he was here just a little while ago. Dr. Sanjeev Chopra. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Yes, Deepak's brother. But he is, within his own rights, he is a Harvard medical school professor, a liver specialist, and just one of the most wonderful, loving souls I have met in a long time. So Dr. Nikki has a little something to say about Harvard too. And I'm so glad that we have sitting in the front row seats next to us. You know what I'm saying? Be grateful when you don't have to Google whatever that MD thing is, or you go out and you end up being more afraid of the situation than you were before you started Googling. Now is a chance to ask questions to a real person with real credentials who is here right now in real time. So share it out. Get your questions. Don't be afraid to ask, right? Don't be afraid to ask. So anyway, we're going to let me start reading. So I'll see you at Tinley Park. Okay, I'll see you at Tinley Park. Any other announcements? Oh, I want to tell you guys about something really great. If you're doing a book, or say you need a brochure or something digital to send out, I found a resource yesterday that is so cool. I dropped my trifold brochure in it. It interfaces with Canva, and it turns everything you have into like an ebook just in seconds. You can flip it, and you even hear the sound like they're turning. It is called simplebooklet.com. simplebooklet.com. We're going to drop that into the comment section at the conclusion of today's broadcast, along with Dr. Nikki's connectors, so you can check out all that wonderful goodness. So, who is here? Dr. Nikki. Now, I should have asked her. I'm going to wait and not use her last name. It's Siso. How do you think it sounds? Siso? I would think it would be Siso instead of Ciso. Yeah, I'm going to go with Nikki Siso. Lord Jesus, I should have asked her. Okay. Anyway, Dr. Nikki, because that's how she refers to herself. She's very casual. And if you go over to her Facebook page, she looks like she'd be like some singer or dancer or she looks like a star. She really does. And she is in the field of holistic everything. She has a PhD, you guys, in holistic health and nutrition. Doctors, I guarantee you, your GP most likely does not have any background in nutrition. It's a fact, you guys. We just assume they know. They do not. That's why it's always, here, take this. Here, take this. Here, take this. And hope the side effects don't kill you. So anyway, she has a nutrition, she's a PhD in holistic health and nutrition, has a master's in sustainability from Harvard. She supports her clients in expressing their highest potential by optimizing their nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset. Her superpower is seeing people's greatness. Hey, get off my toes, Dr. Nikki. That's my superpower too. Anyway, it's true though. Her superpower is seeing people's greatness and what keeps them playing a bigger game. Now, she hosts a podcast, Legends with Dr. Nikki, where she interviews incredible humans. You do? Okay, on their journey to greatness, and she has revolutionized the way coaching is offered with her new Wake Up with Nikki series. Receive daily text voice memos connecting you to your highest self so that you can show up powerful, authentic, and resilient. We're going to make sure you get all of those connectors. So guess what? Here is where you get to bless in the manner you wish to be blessed, which means let's welcome Dr. Nikki virtually with a standing ovation. Let's, get on our feet. How do you do that? Throw some hearts up on the screen. Trust me, they're painless, they're free, and they work. Here she comes, Dr. Nikki, and that's Nikki. Don't get it twisted. Hi, Dr. Nikki. You're muted. But wait a minute. You got wardrobe people there?
No.
Is that what you had on 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess I'm awake now. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Blessed and highly favored, living in dominion, just like you. Now, I want to get started because this is a real, let's go here first. Holistic.
Yes.
It's one of those terms people think they know it. Some people spell it with an H. Some people spell it with a WH. And you hear people talk about, I'm holistic, I'm this, I'm vegan, da, 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 da. And it's kind of gotten, it's almost like people can throw any old definition of holistic against the wall and hope it sticks nowadays. But you've got the real deal, the real deets for us today. So I want to get right in. So first, though, I'm going to dip out so that you can have a moment alone with everybody, kind of create your own vibe. And so they feel like they know you up close and personal. Then I'll pop back in and we'll officially get started. How's that sound?
Sure.
Okay. All you take it away.
Thank you. Hi, guys. What a treat to be here. I'm Dr. Nikki, and I've had quite a beautiful journey on this planet so far. It's been a lovely roller coaster ride. But what that brought me to studying a PhD in holistic health and nutrition. And what that really means is that we take a whole look. The body and the body's health is based on holistic, right? So think the whole body. And so that requires both physical, mental, spiritual connection, feeling safe and supported in your community. It's not just about nutrition, although that's the most important. What goes in your mouth will have the biggest impact on your physical well-being. But are you also drinking clean water? Do you have access to a support community, a supporting community? Are you working on something that is lifting you up and purpose driven? Right? Are you serving your purpose? Do you feel fulfilled? Are you laughing every day? It really looks at the whole picture. Your mental, your financial, your health, all of it is incorporated into a holistic approach to healing. And so, of course, the foundation, as always. Yes, go ahead. You have a question?
No, go. I know I have a shocked look on my face because you said financial. We're going to come back to that, but keep going. I'm just back listening.
Yeah, so our financial health is important as well. If I don't have money in the bank, I'm stressed, and that stress is going to affect my body, right? And so,
I just
yeah,
never heard anyone include that. And
yeah,
see, I told you guys, erase the board. Whatever you thought you knew, just erase it for now, and be open to hearings and embracing some things you may not have known prior to today's show. Again, share it out. Okay. So let's start at the top. Let's go back inside your origin story.
mm.
Okay. Where'd you grow up? And did you grow up in a household where nutrition was something you were taught and it was implemented? Is everybody in your family like real healthy and all that stuff? How'd you get started down this path?
Yeah. So I grew up. I was born and raised in England, and then we moved to Florida. My mother and I alone, and she cared about my nutrition. I'm sure she did a very good job when I was younger. And when we both traveled to Southeast Asia for 3 months, we cut out the meat products because we were concerned for their safety. And when we got back, my mom worked at a place called Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida, where they help people heal all sorts of health conditions. And so she
Wow.
learned how to detox the body with juice cleanses and then feed it really high nutrient density foods. And that's the key, is every bite that you take should be full of nutrition. And we get that primarily from fruits and vegetables, plants, nuts and seeds and sprouts. Those are your highest
So what did your
nutrient
mom
density.
do? What did your mom do for a living that she ended up there?
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know the
So
answer
it
to
was
that.
just
Yeah.
purposeful. The
Yeah.
universe just said, come and look. So that kind of baptized you,
Yeah.
so to speak, into the truth
Yeah.
of the
Yeah, that
day.
was my foundation of always taking care of my health. But then, surprisingly, but maybe not surprisingly, once I did the research, I developed type 1 diabetes at the age of 29.
No way.
And yeah, and usually a type that you get at 4 years old. So quite remarkable. And that led me down the path of getting a PhD in holistic health to really uncover what was going on. And surprisingly, also, a high fat diet can lead to insulin resistance. In terms of type 1, there's quite a few. There's 7 factors that I've uncovered. I can share them if you like.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
So adverse childhood experiences. You've heard of ACEs. There's a list of 8 of them, but like if your parent went to jail or was abusive, that could be physically or mentally. They're alcoholic. You're just a challenging childhood start. That's called adverse childhood experiences. Those often lead to alcohol use, and alcohol will kill off the gut microbiome in your gut. So that's your source. 70% of your immune system is in your gut, and so alcohol use is really destructive and can lead to
Wait,
type 1. Yeah.
please tell me you don't mean wine.
Yes, also wine. I'm so sorry. Large quantities of wine is also going to be destructive.
Oh,
Um,
large quantities. Okay.
some
I
say
only drink a
even,
bottle a day. I'm kidding. 2
um,
glasses?
you know, you have to be careful.
Well, wait a minute. Let's just stop at that intersection for a second. Because
Sure.
now I know, because I just heard it too. You see all these documentaries and things, and people who, have been living for decades before us, people in Italy, cultures will say, no, it is a part of our culture to have wine every day. We live longer than most. We have one of the longest living groups of people on the planet. Italy does. They grow older there. There's more old people, more people over 100 in Italy than any place in the world. So when
Mhm.
people say these kinds of things as a rebut, what do you say?
Yeah. So
Were they
consider
just
your health.
lucky?
No, well, this is how it was explained to me, and it made perfect sense. So, consider your health a glass, like put a glass of jar in front of you. And if you fill the jar with adverse childhood experiences, your jar is now half full on how much your body can tolerate before it breaks down, right? So your glass jar represents how much you can tolerate. Let's say you had an abusive parent. So now your glass jar is probably half full. Then you add alcohol use. Okay, it goes up a little bit more. Then you add mold exposure, goes up a little bit more. Now you add toxicity in our environment, in our water, in our food, in our breathing our air, goes up
Classic.
even more, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you add antibiotics use and milk and wheat that have all sorts of growth hormones, and what they're pumping the animals with nowadays is alarming. Again, antibiotics, growth hormones. They're on an unnatural diet of soy and corn. They're supposed to be eating grass, right? So they're and it's genetically modified, so they've got glyphosate in there.
See what I mean? But listen
All
to
of
these words, Dr. Nikki.
yeah,
Listen at these words. Here's what I want to talk about right now, because it's something I deal with. I'm just keeping it real for us mortals. You know what I'm saying? Because you people, there's a lot of people like yourself, they're so well educated in these things. And then there's us. And I don't think that I can become like a chemist to understand how to have a better diet. All these words and this, it's almost scary.
yeah.
You're like, you know what? I don't want to know. If I'm going to just die for something, just let me die in peace. At least I'll be full and satisfied. But I want you to talk about how the novice, how the everyday person, how do we do this without being scared shitless, basically?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a really simple way. Shop at your farmer's market.
Oh, we do that.
Yeah. It's that simple. First of all, you're supporting local farmers. They are usually picking the fruits and vegetables the day before, so you're getting a ripe, fresh product that hasn't been picked a month before in New Zealand and shipped across the right. It's not. It hasn't soaked up all that nutritional value yet from the ground, and we're picking it.
Yeah.
So you're getting a fresh, most often organic. You can ask them. Sometimes they don't say organic because it's expensive, but they do follow organic practices. And then you're more often than not, the farmers that are there are care for their animals, and they're not mass producing livestock production that's raised cruelly and loaded with nonsense.
So you're saying meats and stuff.
Yeah, I
for people who choose to eat them.
Right. All studies that I've read show that the more you move towards a plant-based diet, the healthier you are.
Yeah.
There are the blue zones. They have a very small portion of meat once a week on their plate. So it's not that it's I am plant-based, but
let's stop right there for a second, because it involves Amy, our mutual friend.
Yeah.
Amy was here just a couple weeks ago, but this happened before. She was here in this house, and I eat 2 Morningstar Farms because I was raised in the Seventh-day Adventist home, so everybody was vegetarian.
Nice.
Okay. And it is a plant-based product. Morningstar Farms. And Amy said, do you know what's in those vegetarian sausages?
Yeah.
Did it? So you see what I'm saying? So you say plant-based, it says it on the box, it's certified, it's FDA approved, plant-based product. Somebody.
Yeah, a lot. You got to be careful of the processed vegan foods, because some of them are they're like wheat gluten based products, or you've got to actually read labels. I know it's but it's worth it because it's going in your body. So read the label, and if you can't pronounce some of the ingredients, it should not go in your body.
Right.
Very simple.
I've always known that. Yeah. If I always look at it, and if it can't be grown, you know what I mean? If they don't sell a seed where you can grow it, then my body doesn't know it. Is how I tell myself. It doesn't know it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, what's this? When it comes in, doesn't know where to send it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, but is there a line where it's almost too fanatical? You know what I mean? And here's why I'm asking. I have nieces and nephews, a lot of them, well, grand nieces and nephews now, who are like going to college. They're all like first, second, third years. And every time a couple of them go to college here in Chicago, go to university here, and I'll go down and have lunch with them. And it never fails. And they're girls. Every time we go to lunch, I try to pick a place based on how their diet was last time. One time, I'm vegan. Now, next 2 months later, I go pick her up. Oh no, Uncle Lauren, I don't eat anything with eyes. I'm like, eyes? So does that include potatoes? Right? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, kids they're absorbing this information at an alarming rate, and they keep changing. What is that? Where, and here's another thing, Amy, I'm just saying, when we go out to eat with people like that, a lot of people don't want to go out with healthy eaters because it takes 30 minutes for them to order, because they're monopolizing the waiter or the waitress with, does it have to, do you have anything without, can they take this out? Girl, how do we find a happy place where we can all just get along?
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I get the
Just keeping it real.
frustration. Yeah, it makes sense. And your body is your temple. And what goes in your mouth is going to affect, it becomes you.
Yeah.
And so if you're eating processed junk food or just stuff that it has been designed in a lab that's not even digestible, and toxic for your body, you're depleting your energy system, and you're depleting your life, really. I mean, it's going to affect your life, the length of your life. It's worth knowing what's going in your food.
Okay.
And it's not that hard. It's just, like you said, what grows out of the land.
So when you go out with people that don't know better, and I know you have people in your circle, family members and stuff, how is the ordering process of what you eat? Do you go first? Do you go last? Do you let them? How do you do it? Because I'm gonna tell you, it's interesting to watch them go through the process when they're ordering, because I'm like, well, why that? And we ask questions, but then also too, it kind of makes a person that hasn't evolved to that point yet go, no way, Jose. There ain't no way in hell.
Yeah. So once you learn, it's really hard to go back. Once you learn something's really toxic for you, you can't just be like, yeah, I'm going to eat it anyway. And what I do when I go to a restaurant, I have the waiter come over right away. So while people are looking on what they want to, they're trying to figure things out. I call the waiter over and be like, what's not fried and really delicious? That's vegetarian. And then they'll tell me, and then I'll look through and make sure I like everything and be like, can you omit the cheese, or can you omit the, and it's great. Easy.
So take us through that food chain. Vegan, vegetarian. I can't keep it straight. And then there's gluten-free and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
What are you?
I would now say a vegetarian, just because I've incorporated eggs. My whole life, I've pretty much been vegan, except when I'm in Europe, I will have some cheese because it's so yummy.
Don't say that word in front of Amy.
But at least over there, it's higher quality. Here, so yeah, I have incorporated eggs. I found that my iron was a little low, and if I had 2 eggs a month, my iron was in perfect ranges. Solve the problem instantly. I could increase my beets and spinach quantities to support the iron, or take iron pills, but I found 2 eggs. And I also, sometimes I just get really hungry, and that is like a dense meal for me, so it satiates.
So let's go into this zone. A lot of people think that holistic is just so that you eat like organic and this and that. Plus, that's another thing. Every time I'm about to buy, I see they put them right next to each other, like 2 or 3 down from each other. I'll see organic this, and then the regular one down there. And the first thing I do is look at the price.
Yeah.
And then I hold myself, they look the same just because they put that sticker on it. How do I know? Because we're already trained. Don't believe half of the shit they tell you. So let me ask you that question. Because people are always encouraged to get organic. How do you know it's organic? How do you know?
Yeah, there are ways to cheat with organic, of course. However, it is 100% of the time better than a conventionally made produce, because you're getting an organic soil, so it's got way more nutrients going into that produce, and you're not covering it with toxic products like pesticides and herbicides that are going into that product as well. So you're avoiding toxins and you're getting a higher level of nutrition.
So
Worth it. Worth
is it
the
the
extra
FDA?
50 cents.
So these people that say organic, they've been checked, rechecked, and checked again to make sure it really is.
Yeah, the only exception, supposedly, look, again,
Oh,
farmers markets are, I think, are more trustable because the farmer actually cares and they're there. They're at
they're
the
there.
farmers market. They're like, we don't spray our vegetables. We use organic soils, organic seeds. Then you know you can trust it. The only thing that I've heard in terms of organic that is not trustable is fruit coming from a different country.
Country.
Even
Yeah.
if it's organic, if it's crossed this border, they've sprayed it.
They've sprayed it to kill anything so it doesn't come in.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this one. So, and this is so okay, we're here in Chicago and we go to a farmer's market almost every Saturday in Lake Geneva. Now, what about when the snow flies and they're shut down? If I get a bunch of that stuff, because we got new appliances, so I have an extra refrigerator in the garage now, our old one. So I have a lot of freezer space. So I was saying to my husband, well, I should get some stuff and freeze it, or maybe I should learn how to can, you know. So can you talk about, is it okay if I get these fresh things and I freeze them or I can them? Are one or both of those options a better option for during the winter when I can't get to the farmer's market? Is it still better, or do they lose something being canned or frozen?
Yeah, they definitely lose something. It's just like if you took a frozen blueberry and let it defrost, it kind of
Yeah.
looks like like a
Mhm.
little sad. So
Wrinkly.
yeah, it loses its vitality for sure. Life doesn't want to be frozen, right? But better to get that than nothing at all. I'd rather you have some access to some frozen blueberries, and I use frozen fruit in my smoothie, just so that I have berries throughout the winter. But
But is it better to freeze the farmer's market stuff and use it than go to the grocery store and get what they have fresh?
Good question. I always lean towards fresh. I think that's always healthier.
Okay.
Always. My
Okay.
understand of canned is if it's made with an aluminum and it's got some kind of lining on the inside,
Mm-mm.
potentially made from plastic, that's going to
Mm-mm.
leach into the food. So you want to stay away from cans altogether. These canned sodas, all these soda drinks, everything's
Yeah.
toxic for the body.
What about fruit in jars? Applesauce. They have regular fruit, peaches and things in there now.
Usually loaded with sugar, so be careful. Much better to take a fresh apple and blend it. You got applesauce.
Oh,
So easy.
okay. 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 So that's the food section. I want to ask you, when you started your studies at Harvard, because you said financial, you had all these different lanes. Let's go to the spiritual lane. So,
Mm.
how do they teach? How do you get a PhD in holistic? What happens when you get to that part about spiritualism? Everybody, people from all over the world come to that school to learn, and probably we're in that program with you, all coming with different predispositions as far as their spiritualism, religion slash. What was that like?
Ooh, good question. So I think my spirituality studies came from other workshops and retreats and sitting with plant medicine. And I've been studying spirituality since I was 15 years old. I've read all the self-help books I could get my hands on, and all about how I now have a very strong connection with spirit. And what I teach now is that when you clean your vessel, when you do provide this body with the right nutrition, you get the toxicity out, and a detox will be super helpful for this. But when you clean your body, you become a very clear channel to receive guidance. And so now in the mornings, I'll ask for support, or I'll ask for what's next or what's right for me. And within an hour, if not that day, I will hear very clearly who I need to contact, or they contact me, or I'll be, behind a bus that says move to Bali. Like, I'll just get really clear signals
Mm-hmm.
back. And so that's my spiritual practice now, is trusting that this body is a vessel, and that I can ask for support and receive it.
So they teach that part, spiritual. That's a part of the curriculum.
I wouldn't say, definitely not at Harvard, although they have a divinity school. That's how I
Oh,
learned there.
okay.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
it. Okay, that was what I
Uh-huh.
needed cleared up.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when
yeah.
people go to school and they get these credentials, their spiritualism is something outside of what they were taught by the school,
Yes.
but it is
Yeah.
still a part of the family of holistic lanes or cousins and all that.
Absolutely, because it's
Okay.
having trust and faith that you're here for a purpose and you're going to be guided, and during the hardest times you can lean into that, and that's important. That calms the body, right? That supports the nervous system.
So did that ever come up in a class, in a lecture, where people were like, holistic, but doesn't that include the spiritualism? That like, we can't talk about that, church state, this and the others, keep it separate, because spiritualism in some conversations comes close to cross bleeding into the same zone as talking about religion. And I would think in a school setting they'd be like, we don't want a bunch of people screaming at each other in here, because even spiritualism, we all have our own, so you found you brought your own curriculum for that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
I would venture to say that most religions would agree that there is some level of a higher power energy source that is guiding and protecting and directing, that's kind of I would venture to say, a common thread. And so
Okay.
that's what spirit is, right? It's spirituality is a belief in that there's a spirit guiding. And I think that's common to all religions. It's just then the way it plays out and the rules and all that stuff is different.
Okay. Here's one for you. This is now called Stump Dr. Nikki. I'm just kidding. So here, no, because I know I trust what you say. So I want to get some of these things that people hear all these conflicting stories about. So let's talk about this. How important is it? And is there a difference, Dr. Nikki, when people come to you? Let's use your own experience, because that's what you can speak from. Do you see a difference between when people come? Is there a difference between motive and intentions? To say, I want a holistic journey. So what's your motive, or what is your intention? Because sometimes they're different. So what is a good reason for a person to say, I want to embark on a holistic lifestyle? What is a good reason?
Two thoughts come to mind. Children, you want to be there for your kids and your grandkids, or you have a purpose. And there's a reason why you're here, and you want to serve it, and you want the energy, right? You want your body to feel energized so you can work on that project and make a difference in this world.
That was a good, straight to the point, concise. And well, the truth always requires few words. So there you go.
Yeah.
I love it. So talking about energy, because this was swirling around in my ADHD mind. Well, seriously, because here recently, like in the last couple of weeks, I go to bed around 8:30, 9 o'clock every night. I actually go to sleep around 9:30.
Good.
I get up around 5 in the morning, sometimes a little earlier. But
Excellent.
lately, hitting those benchmarks, even though I go to bed on time, I wake up. It's not like I'm running a marathon during the day. I have found that I'm just dragging booty. It's like today I slept until an hour before this show. And then I'm running around trying to get everything done. Talk about things that we could be doing that are serving as anchors or quicksand to our energies. And it doesn't have to just be the food and stuff, the nutrition. What other things could we possibly be doing that holistically it's draining our energies? What kinds of things, and how can we help improve our energy levels?
Yeah.
Some suggestions.
First thought right away is you need a juice cleanse. Clean out your gut, because you must have some heavy density stuck in your intestines that are weighing you down physically. On an energetic level, get your cell phone out of your bedroom so that you can, and turn your Wi-Fi routers off. Get the EMFs, electromagnetic fields, in your household as minimum as possible, especially in your bedroom. Very important to get your cell phone out of your bedroom. And even more so than that, before you go to bed, to get off the screens an hour to 2 hours, even something 3 hours before you get into bed. so that you're setting your melatonin. Actually, melatonin gets set first thing in the morning. So when you wake up, and especially at that beautiful hour, get outside and have a look at the sunrise, and actually look directly into the sun. It gives your at that time it's safe to look at the sun. It will give you energy, and it sets the tone for your body to know when to produce melatonin at nighttime. And to get a little walk in the morning, it doesn't have to be much, but even just around the block, get that blood moving, will support with your energy system as well. And I heard water, your water supplies. So make sure your water is super clean. That's a big one. Our water systems.
Let's talk about water.
Yeah, go
Thank
ahead.
you for that.
Yeah, sure.
Because my husband and I, we went somewhere and we came back with a stomach flu, right? And so I was at the pharmacy, and I always go online and ask my followers, hey, this happened. What do you guys think we should do? And somebody's like, get Pedialyte. So I was at the pharmacy, and I had all the Pepto-Bismol. I had Pedialyte, and my body took care of this thing in 24 hours, where Brian, it took 4 days, right? And we were like, what is the difference? We eat the same foods, but we don't go to bed at the same time and all that. That's probably it. But the pharmacist, I was asking him, and he said, because they said get electrolyte water. And I had Pedialyte in the basket, and he goes, you don't need both. He goes, I would put the Pepto-Bismol back and get the water that is pH balanced and has the electrolyte and this and the other. Now, there are still people I know that were like, why should I pay for water? I can get it. It's free right out of the tap. So let's talk about that. Now, there's not just water like this. It's just spring water. That used to be the top of the list, spring water. They had commercials where it was like Colorado flowing down you're like, you dip it out. I'm on Little House on the Prairie, But now you have this, there's the water laying in the grocery store is worse than the shampoo aisle.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about water. How do you know what good water, clean water is? I can see through it. Isn't that clean?
I actually did a report on this while at Harvard on the difference between tap water and bottled water. And they found that bottled water is actually less regulated than tap. And 40%, especially that Nestle bottles, those directly straight out of the tap. They're just opening a tap and filling up a plastic bottle for
Hey,
you.
that's what I always want. How do we know?
Yeah. So very concerning. If
How
you
is that
go
legal?
on I know, well, because they're selling convenience, right? You got a bottled water, right?
You asked for
But
it. It is water.
it's water. But
Okay, keep
I
going.
refuse to buy plastic bottles of water. Absolutely refuse. Because first of all, you don't know how long that's been sitting in that plastic bottle. If it's been transferred in heat, that plastic will melt a little bit into the water. It's been leaching plastic, which is made from petrol gas. It's just, I do not buy. And that bottle right there will sit on the earth for 75 years. You've taken 4 sips, basically 4 gulps, and that plastic bottle will be on this earth for 75 years.
All right, Susie Sunshine.
That's
sorry. Enough. I'm just kidding.
The best place to go is ewg.org. They are environmentalworkinggroup.org. And in the top right corner, you'll see a tap water database link. You click on that and you can put your zip code in, and it will tell you all of the contaminants in the reservoir that leads to your zip code. It is mind-blowing. I have seen up to 24 different chemicals, many of them saying cancer causing, and they are sometimes 475 times the legal limit of like arsenic. You're like, what? in your tap water. Yeah, very serious. So it's extremely important to filter your tap water. You need a gallon of water in your diet every day, and if it's full of arsenic, that's a problem.
Okay, so our refrigerator filters the water, and I was wondering, I was like, well, why do I keep buying these cases of this?
No.
Why don't we just keep a couple bottles or have like these and just get it out of the refrigerator door? So you're saying that's a better way than this?
Yes, definitely the step improvement, but the refrigerator only has 1 filter. You need a 3 filter system that goes ideally under the sink. They have reverse osmosis ones. You can get them for $300 from Home Depot, a highest quality one, or Amazon. You can get a great one for $300, and then you've got water supply as much as you want. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. What I use is the Berkey. They've apparently had some issue where they found one chemical in there, so they're not selling refill of the filters. So sadly, that system might not be so great anymore. But a reverse osmosis is what EWG, that website I told you about,
Yeah.
that they recommend the reverse osmosis system. It's a 3-chamber filter. So it'll go through 3 filters before you get your water.
And you said Home Depot. I'm glad you put that out there because a couple years ago, a potential sponsor, wanted me to promote their water filtration system.
Yes.
So I didn't even ask. They just shipped it to me. Right? It was huge, and it wouldn't fit on our sink. Right? So
Yeah.
they said, "We'll send it back." And well, first of all, it was $5,000. It was a retail $5,000. And then it cost me $118 to send it back to him. I was so mad. But anyway, because I didn't even ask for it. So I'm glad to hear on this site, ewg.org, do they have resources like where they say, here are some water filtration systems that we would recommend?
Yeah. If you keep scrolling down under, once they show you the report, it'll give you the exact solution.
And are these, I don't know how much experience you have with these systems, but is this the kind of thing you can do it yourself to put it in, or do you have to call a plumber?
Yeah. No, you can install it yourself. If you have a little hole in your sink where the soap dispenser would go, then you don't have to make a hole. If you don't have that, you might have to make a hole.
Make a hole. Okay.
But there are other systems that are above the counter that don't require that. It depends. If you live in your home, it's worth doing.
Okay. Well, some people would ask this because I think about it all the time when I make coffee or I make tea. And I'll go and get that water, but I go, well, it's kind of being boiled.
Better. But
or should we use the filtrated water even when we're, steam? Say, for instance, I'm steaming asparagus.
Yeah.
And it's in the little basket thing and the water's coming up. Isn't it when you boil something, it purifies it? So isn't that okay?
It purifies the live elements like bacteria. But chemicals they're not boiling doesn't affect a chemical. It just probably heats it up.
So you would recommend using the filtrated water for everything?
Yeah, because apparently with chlorine, for example, when you heat up chlorine, the vapor, breathing chlorine is more dangerous than drinking it.
So what next? They're going to tell us don't shower unless you're using filtrated water. Don't brush your teeth.
I was holding off, but yes. Ideally, you get a filtration system for your whole house. Those are about $3,000, and it looks like a water heater that goes in your garage, but then it'll clean all the water that comes into your house. That's the ultimate. That's high level.
Now, my granny, try to pitch this to her. She'd be like, I'm 97 years old. It was good enough for my mama, and she lived to be 103.
Well, they weren't putting the stuff that they're putting into our water systems now back then. So the EPA has approved 100,000 chemicals, something insane. So we are way more bombarded than Granny was.
So where are the people? Where do they live? Where are the people that have been doing this, let's say, as well as they could, because it's always evolving, but the people that have been doing their best as they've learned and things have grown in the world, let's say 40 years, there's a person who is living like you're describing. Are they really going to live longer than the person across the street who didn't do any of that? I mean, because some people say, yeah, I knew so-and-so. She was dead at 65. And her sister, who ate what she wanted, drank what she wanted, is now a ripe old 93.
So, great question. Every body is different. So some bodies have high level tolerance to toxicity. Some will be affected. What I would venture to claim is that that 65-year-old's energy till the day she died was probably much higher than the 95-year-old granny who's kind of getting along. And is probably the end of her life. For sure.
Because you can be 95 and stuck in a corner drooling.
Yeah, and wearing diapers and have diabetes and all the long list. So,
right. Just because you're alive doesn't mean
you're healthy.
Right. What about this? What about man, is that a senior moment? Wait. I'm going to rebuke that. Okay. What? Seriously. I just turned 61. I'm watching them like a hawk.
Wait, but that's a great point. Brain fog is also an indication of the brain not getting all the nutrients it needs, and you get to clean out. So a lot of the Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, things like that, due to heavy metals in the brain.
I
And so,
believe that.
like, you know how your brain is electric?
Yeah.
Imagine if you got a heavy metal stuck in there. Now it's going to like take the electricity. It doesn't go, you know, like it's pulling the electricity. So then you have these like stummers and shakes.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It really
So
does.
you want to detox the body. A juice cleanse, super important. Will support all of this.
Let's talk about supplements.
Oh, okay.
You know, I mean, you see Nature's Way and buy one get one free, all these different things, and I got echinacea and I got fish oil and burpless and calcium and iron and 3,000 milligrams, 500 milligrams. When is it too much?
Yeah, it's actually a lot of it's too much, because a lot of the binding agents that they use and the fillers that they'll use is, for example, magnesium stearate or silicon dioxide. Those two, magnesium stearate, you'll find in almost every single supplement, and that will lead to weight gain and lethargy. So very important. If you're having one, no problem. If you're having 5 or 6 different pills a day, every single day, that will bioaccumulate in your system and cause you to feel exhausted. So you've got to look for the ingredients. Again, you got to read ingredients nowadays. I'm sorry, but it's not hard once you do it once, and you'll find a brand that you like, that doesn't have this magnesium stearate and silicon dioxide, I think it's called. Then those are higher quality. The only main supplements I take are a B vitamin because our soils are depleted, and a D3K2, which will support my bone density.
Is that one pill, D3K2? Or is that
It's an oil.
It's an oil.
Yeah. So you take this dropper, you don't, it's it's no problem.
Okay.
D3 and K2, those two vitamins go really well together. They support each other in being more biodigestible, and supports the body.
Wow.
But that's it. Otherwise, I do some like nootropics, like brain L-theanine and things like to support my brain. And there are some diabetes support pills that I take that support with lowering blood sugars, like berberine and cinnamon, and there's those things. But all plant-based, very natural, not full of any of the other binders. Really important.
Final question. Is it possible, Dr. Nikki, and I'm hoping when people head over to wakeupwithnikki.com, which is scrolling along the bottom of your screen now, and I've also dropped these links inside the comment section for easy access. And there's another one I need to put in there, and don't worry, I will. You have wakeupwithnikki.com. I'm going to drop this one and her TikTok inside for your access. Nikki, is it possible for people to enter into this without all the intimidation? It can be, if we go in fear-based, I don't think we're going to be that successful. When we head over to wakeupwithnikki.com, what will we find that might help ease some of the apprehension about living a better and a more holistic life?
Yeah, so on that site, that one's more catered to how to have a self-love and self-confidence, and really supporting the mindset. Because when you do, when you do that, when you calm your nervous system, when you trust that everything's showing up for you in alignment and in service of your soul's evolution, then you can start to actually give yourself the love that you need when it comes to nutrition. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And you know what makes even more sense? I've just thought about it. I want to offer you a 90-minute television special. Because I know if I'm feeling this way, you guys out there are too. We need more time, and to really let you bring some just walk us through it without my questions coming from all different directions, but just a step by step process. And I think you guys would appreciate that. I know I would. So I want you to think about that. If you'd be willing to do a 90-minute TV special with a 30-minute Q&A where people can just come and learn and you can just kind of pour into us. Is that something you'd be interested in?
100%. This would be
Really?
an honor. Yeah, of course. Pleasure.
Okay, perfect. Do me a solid then. Let me see if I have somebody.
See, you just tapped into something. So this morning I said, show me, universe, how I can support more. Show me how I can support more. And look at you.
There you
showed
go.
up. Yeah.
Well, we're all here, hopefully, to be of service to each other, and in our own way, ease suffering in the world. And so I really love all the things you've had to say here today, and I just feel like we just barely done that. I want to eat the whole dang thing. You know what I mean? I really do.
The whole vegan pie?
The holistic thing. I want to eat the whole vegan pie. I want it all. Well, because I'm waking up more and more every day into my purposeful life. I didn't start waking up until 50. So I feel like I've just begun 5 minutes ago, but I want to hold on and learn. And even if it means, I leave here with a better understanding of why I was here and what it was all about, it can only help what form and what place I take next. So it's not just about one thing ever. So I love it. So you guys heard her. She said she's going to do it. Hang out backstage. I'll tell you how we can get started on putting that into place. Okay.
Yes.
And thank you so much for everything today. It's just been awesome. And thank all of you. First, if I tell you every day, the most wonderful part about us coming together is it only takes two of us. It doesn't take millions. It takes two of us. And one of the greatest promises available is there and then on the spot fulfilled, where two or more of us comes together. We have that heart space reserved for each other. So listen, come on back tomorrow. Let me see who is here. What's tomorrow? Ooh, man, this month is flying. Tomorrow, hold on while I pull up my tech system of booking. It's high tech. Yes. Luala Naughton is here, and she'll be in the house to share with us. She's got some new things out on the horizon she wants to bring to the table. So we'll be here to round out this wonderful week of illuminated conversations. Get out today. Seek your highest self. Seek, keep seeking, and you will find. And listen, as I tell you every single time we're together in parting, I love you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Thank you, Dr. Nikki. You are awesome. And you guys, we're gonna let you know right away when we've set this 90-minute special up so that you can get there, and we'll see you tomorrow, God willing, on the front porch at 8 a.m. so we can do it all together.
Yeah.
Great job, Dr. Nikki.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine.